That Movie Nut here with a review for Silent Movie, the 1978 Mel Brooks screwball comedy starring Mel Brooks, Marty Feldman, Dom DeLuise, and Anne Bancroft. The story follows Mel Funn, a down-on-his-luck Hollywood director, and his two associates, played by Feldman and Dom DeLuise, who decides, in order to make some money for themselves, to bring back the old tradition of silent movies and make one with a big ensemble cast. However, the studio they are working for, Big Picture Studios, is under threat from the Engulf and Devour Corporation, which in and of itself is a thinly veiled reference to the Paramount Gulf and Western fiasco of that time, who are intent on buying them out lest Big Pictures can find a way to recoup its losses and be successful. So, Mel Funn and his friends must race against time and the evil Gulf and Devour Corporation, hire their ensemble cast, and make the film a success before Engulf and Devour take over the studio. As always, we'll start off with the actors. Now, as I mentioned before, this has an ensemble cast, with Mel Brooks, Marty Feldman, and Dom DeLuise leading the troupe as the three filmmaking friends, and they pull it off really well. However, as the title implies, none of them have dialogue. That's right, you heard me, people. There is no dialogue to speak of, save for one line that is spoken by a mime, of all people, and only that one line. Everyone else is mute, and has to communicate through body language. And they all pull it off surprisingly well. What's also surprising about Brooks is the fact that, despite being better known for witty one-liners and, well, some dirty jokes like the famous farting scene in Blazing Saddles, he proves himself a very capable physical comedian here, clearly showing his love for the classic silent comedies such as Chaplin and Buster Keaton. And of course other notable members of the ensemble include James Caan and Anne Bancroft, who, despite not being able to deliver dialogue or talk in this film, pull off their body language well and convey what the scenes need to through their faces and hands, which again is testament to their talent as actors. The locations are all fine and passable, being sites around Hollywood. You get to see a variety of locations within the city, including bars, hospitals, studios, and even the homes of celebrities such as James Caan. Of course, the locations in and of themselves serve as setup for the gags, which we will talk about shortly. John Morris's music score once again shows how underrated of a composer he is and how much talent the man had. A score that both celebrates and lampoons the classic music of screwball comedies. So you'll hear all the traditional trumpets, flutes, and whistles that you'd expect from this. And this is even more significant given that without dialogue, music has to play a huge part in carrying the film's emotions, and John Morris pulls it off with flying colours, with his score being on par with his previous jobs on Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. And now, since there really isn't a script to speak of given that this is a silent film, I'm instead going to talk about the humour, or more specifically, the physical comedy. And yes, because there is no dialogue to speak of, you're not going to hear witty one-liners as you might have done in the past. Instead, here you're going to see a lot of pratfalls, bashing through windows, crashes, bashes, driving through buffers, car chases. You get the general idea, that very physical screwball comedy, where pain was not a limit. And this is where the film becomes a little trickier to talk about, because it very much depends. Do you like physical comedy or not? Do you find it funny when, say, someone slips on a banana peel, or do you think it's not all that? Me personally, I thought it was hilarious. And Mel Brooks, as I've said, proves himself to be a very good physical comedian, and once again, it shows that he deeply loves the films that he is spoofing here, the classic comedies of people such as Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and other silent gods such as Laurel and Hardy. And even then, despite the obvious limitations of the medium that they have to use here, they even manage to squeeze in some references, like there's a scene where they're playing an early version of Pong, which was actually pretty interesting. And of course, as I mentioned before, the whole Devour thing, the company that's taking over Mel Fun's studio, also happens to be a reference to a major event that was going on around the time, which concerned Gulf and Western and Paramount. And in and of itself is a slight send up on the whole tradition of Hollywood takeovers, where one studio buys out another, which again demonstrates Mel Brooks' talent as a writer, even when he has to work with these limitations. So, in conclusion, I must give Silent Movie a silver star. There is no doubt that once again, like its predecessors, this is an undeniable comedy of quality, and one that has a lot of love and affection put into it. While some may not get into the physical comedy all that much, the film does have plenty of little moments that will make you smile. The musical score by John Morris is incredible and works fantastically with the film, and in all fairness, much like his previous works, it's a perfect tribute and parody of films that, in all essence, have pretty much been forgotten by mainstream moviegoers.